I'm Jason Shapiro,
bringing you an enhanced audiovisual experience.
the legend of Two Cities podcast. So it's no secret, I've been spending a lot of time talking together with my younger self, trying to piece together where it all went wrong and what really happened to me. I put together a list of key fundamental questions. I said to myself, what's your favorite color? And I thought back and I realized that was actually an extremely difficult question. You see, the kids were absolutely mad over the Power Rangers. Everybody wanted to be a Power Ranger. And I didn't even take the time to relish in the fact that the leader of the Power Rangers was named Jason. When the kids were playing Power Rangers on the playground, all I ever wanted was to be the Blue Ranger. But Jason was the Red Ranger. And the kids would always remind me that I cannot play as the Blue Ranger and I had to play as the Red Ranger. This put a lot of doubt into my thoughts. I thought, am I even allowed to like the color blue? Do I even like the color blue? What do I think of the color red? And then it was all okay because I started to realize I don't actually like the Power Rangers that much. Fast forward to 7th grade. It's bar mitzvah year. It's a very auspicious time in a 13-year-old Jewish boy's life. And everybody is so excited for their special day and their moments to become a man in the eyes of the religion. At my school, this wasn't as significant as it was in other circles. At my school, everybody was looking forward to the reception. These were no ordinary celebrations. Ordinary celebrations, Jason. These were banquets. They were massive, each one bigger than the next. From the dancing to the music to the decorations to the food, they were off the chain. Now, before I go any further, I have to show massive respect and appreciation to a very special friendship I had carved out for myself in 7th grade. As cliche as this is going to sound, he was the boy next door. He literally lived next door to me. He was slightly older than the rest of the grade, and he had already celebrated his bar mitzvah the year prior. Now, this guy came from a very, very, very good family. He had integrity. He was a good friend. I have very fond memories of my time spent with him. Anyway, so the functions were compulsory, that everybody was included. So this automatically led me to attend majority of these celebrations, which I was glad about. And believe it or not, I wasn't interested in the dancing or the delicious food. My favorite part was the speeches. The tradition was for 2 or more boys to stand up and say a special speech about their friend. And every time I would hear one of these speeches, I would relish in the idea of the day that somebody asked me to say a speech about them, and I could give the best speech ever heard about a very special friend. Photography was very expensive in those days. And there was a trend for people to go for a photo shoot, choose the best of those photos, have it blown up to a big size. They would put a white border around it, and everybody at your function would have an opportunity to take a pen and write you a small note around your photograph. I was so grateful and so blessed that my photo shoot coincided with my orthodontist appointment, where I had my braces removed literally an hour before my photo shoot. I was so grateful. And my mother and I argued terribly over which photo we were going to choose. She chose a very smiling, happy photo. Today, when I put those photos side by side, the photo that we settled on and the happy, smiling photo, I recognize that the photo was emotionless. It was like a mugshot. There was no expression. There was nothing. There was barely a smile. The reason being, I didn't want the big, happy, smiling photo. I didn't like my dimples. I didn't want anybody to judge me or to comment or laugh. So I decided against the perfect photo. I regret that. Another big deal when it came to planning your bar mitzvah was the theme. The sporty kids would have football themes, and everybody would have a theme that basically suited them. And most of the themes did. It was like, okay, that makes sense for that kid. And when it came time to my theme, I decided I would choose race cars. Race cars. I don't even like race cars today. What did I know about race cars as a kid? The truth is, I was thinking of what the other kids would like. I wasn't thinking about what I liked. I didn't even know what I wanted. And my parents, with such excitement, planned to have a very big, ostentatious race car backdrop across the entire hall. And I remember looking up at this race car thinking how absolutely underwhelmed I felt by the gesture. I really, really felt bad about that because I really didn't appreciate it as much as I thought I should have. So it comes time for my speech. And it's obviously the boy next door, and it's another kid who apparently ran with the speech. He kind of planned the whole speech. And we're at my bar mitzvah, and it's time for the speeches. And the speech had very little substance. It was as if there was no substance to me. And I blew it off very quickly. It was a very, very successful day. I really did my portion well, and all the religious aspect went really well. And the function was a blast. It was a bit intimidating, admittedly, having so much attention on me when I was so unsure of myself. But all in all, it was really cool. I even danced to the girl at my bar mitzvah. I even had my first kiss. And the year rolled out, and everybody was celebrating, and everybody was creating better connections through these functions. People were really getting close to one another. And the speeches got better and better. The kids had really figured each other out. My bar mitzvah was earlier on in the year. And I knew I've got one chance to say a speech. It's that kid who did a speech for me. And it grew closer to his special day, and it grew closer. And I waited. And I waited. And I recall actually having a part of my personality intact at that stage, which was my outspokenness and directness. And I turned to him and I said, aren't you going to ask me to say your speech? And he said no. So we attended his function, and it came time for the speeches, and I sat glued to these other boys, trying to see what they would say. And the speech was okay. It wasn't really anything to write home about. I was gutted because I knew that if I had that opportunity, I would say an absolutely incredible speech for this guy. And then I thought, what can I take home from this? You guys are probably still wondering why I'm doing this. Why am I picking apart these emotions and feelings? The truth is, I'm trying to take something home from it. I'm trying to see if there's some meaning behind this pain. I think the meaning here is that when you're a small child, it's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to not know what your favorite color is. It's okay to not know who you are. Because peer pressure, bullying, and just general school life will lead you down a path where you find yourself in a different shape, color, personality than you thought you were. You find yourself in a space where you are compromising yourself just to fit in. These stumbling blocks are only there to teach us lessons, to make us stronger, and to push us forward. You know, thinking back, the friendship with the boy next door was not a forever friendship. The speech was not meant to be said. And I'm just thinking about the Power Rangers. I really believe that the more you experience pain, the more you experience disappointment, the more you start to figure out who you really are, what you really want, and who you aspire to be. I believe that this starts at a very young age, where things don't make sense and things aren't as cut dry, perfect as they should be to make you a happy person. But things do get better and things do improve as the years pass. I think that these were the moments in my life where I truly, actually, genuinely started to figure out who I was. At the time, I thought I figured out nothing. Looking back, I was slowly but surely putting it all together. Message me at legendoftwocities.com.